I suddenly discovered that the money in my pocket had turned to dust. I knew something was wrong. I quickly drove home, grabbed a handful of money from my room, and rushed to the window. I threw it outside. Sure enough, before the bills even hit the ground, they turned to ash. To verify, I went back to the room, picked up a Van Gogh self-portrait, and stood by the door. I exposed half of the painting. A few seconds later, the half outside turned to dust. That's when I understood. Everything I wished for couldn't leave the room, because none of it really exists in the real world. I rushed into the wish room, swinging a hammer, trying to understand the secret hidden here. When I broke through the wall, I found tangled wires, not just in the wish room, but in every room. Even under the floor, strange black wires covered everything. Finally, I found a blueprint on one wall, but I couldn't understand it. Just then, I saw my wife and child heading for the door. I tried to stop them, but couldn't explain why. In the end, my wife didn't listen, and took the child outside. I didn't stop them. Maybe this was my chance to let the child disappear. I stood by the door, silently waiting. Sure enough, as soon as they stepped outside, the child started crying. His skin began to change, and his shoes aged at a visible speed. Hearing my wife's cries, I rushed outside, grabbed the child, and ran back to the room. By the time we got back, the shoes had turned to dust. When we looked at the child again, I was shocked. The baby was no longer a baby, but a teenager. I finally understood. Anything created by a wish ages rapidly once it leaves the room. Time accelerates thousands of times outside. I told my wife the truth, but she couldn't bear to let go of the child. Days passed, and the child became her obsession. She lied to him, telling him the outside world was full of bacteria. Only in the room was he safe. But the more she said it, the more curious he became about the world outside, and soon, escaping the room became his obsession. Every chance he got, he tried to escape. Thankfully, my wife always stopped him. Eventually, she sealed the door and windows with wooden planks.
I'm not doing this.
You don't like it? Feel free to leave anytime you want!
I couldn't accept this life, but I couldn't fight my wife's persistence. I secretly bought a gun and practiced on the mountain every day. But honestly, I wasn't sure what I was preparing for. As time went on, our arguments about the child grew. We had no idea. Our son had already learned the secret of the wish room. One day, while we were sleeping, he took the house keys. Minutes later, he returned, now an adult.
Look, Mommy. I'm big now.
Shit.